Hey, big fucking dreamers. So pumped to be here with you today. And today on the episode, we have a very special guest. She is a dear friend, Clinch. She's an exceptional leader. She leads a customer success team on LinkedIn. And we are talking about how do you really operationalize your values? What does that look like on a day to day basis? How do you overcome victim mentality? What to do when you're suppressing parts of yourself in leadership. It was a really beautiful episode. Katie has just finished the life and work transformation, and I was so honored to get her on here. This was actually supposed to be a LinkedIn Live episode, but it didn't go live to LinkedIn, which was really great because we told a bunch of people about it. So you can listen to it here. The life and work transformation, we are rolling out. There is another cohort starting at the end of October. So if you're listening to this and you think, this is the time, like I want to become more confident in my career, I want to overcome self-doubt, I want to really live and lead by my values, I want to make a career that's aligned for me, then this is going to be, the transformation that you will receive. So I urge you to DM me to set up a call and let me know what you thought of this episode. I always love hearing from you, big fucking dreamers. And also, we do have something very special coming soon. Something's coming. You will see it. Something new on the podcast is coming soon, which I'm really excited for. So without further ado, here is Katie Clinch on Loving and Leading by Your Values.
We are here, yay, which I'm so excited about.
So
Amazing. I'm so excited. I see the live buttons.
So we're live. I guess we should start, and I want to start with this story about the first time I met your mom, and we ran into each other at the hallway of LinkedIn, and you're like, "Mom, this is Hannah," and I was like, "Hey, how are you? How are you doing?" And then it was just such a flurry of activity. And then afterwards, she looked at you and just said, "Do you guys go into clients together? These poor clients."
Oh my goodness. I remember that vividly as I was so excited to introduce you to Mum. And I think she was just overwhelmed by the two of us. And I don't actually think she spoke. So she just said hello. And you were like, "It's great to meet you." And she was like, "Your poor clients. This is a lot." I was like, "Yes, yes."
It is. It is. So just for background, Katie, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and also just even from that, just a tad overview about our relationship and the different stages that we've gone throughout the years.
Oh, I could spend this whole time talking about that. So I am Katie Clinch. I am based in Sydney, Australia. You probably get from my accent that I'm originally from London. Been in Australia 15 years now and working, as you mentioned, I'm still at LinkedIn. And I am a mum to Flynn, a wife to Jimmy, a friend to many, to you. Um, and Hannah, our relationship over the years, so we have known each other coming up to 10 years now, and we originally was working together as peers. So Hannah was my sales partner, I was her customer success manager. So yes, we were meeting clients together. We both actually ended up in leadership together at LinkedIn, so working together as peers with our teams. When you moved on from LinkedIn, of course, followed your journey very closely, and I've always admired you. You've always been a really dear friend of mine. Am I your coachee? Is this what we are? You're my coach. I'm your coachee. So I've been working with Hannah as my coach since, I think it was September last year I started working with you. So I feel so honored to be here having these conversations as I've been listening to your podcast since day dot. I am a big dreamer. And yeah, I'm just so happy to be here and also on LinkedIn Live as well.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Well, I'm so happy that you're here. And I mean, today's conversation is going to be around really leading by your values, leading and living by your values. And I think I have seen you, I find that values, when people talk about it, it can be a super kind of fluffy, esoteric topic. And it's it doesn't align with my values, or, I just want to live by my values. But a lot of people don't necessarily know how to operationalize that. I would love to go into really what I saw you do and both the decisions that you were making on a day-to-day basis, but then also kind of some macro decisions that you've made in your life about first your journey of defining your values in the life and work transformation, and then how that has translated into day-to-day living.
Yeah. +1 on the I think the fluffiness, I actually am all about fluff, but I completely agree when it comes to values that people can sometimes just default back to, "Oh, I'm living by my values." It's like, do you truly know your values? So I did a values workshop with my manager back in 2019. And it was a really great session, and I really went so deep into like, "Oh, what is my value? Oh, no, I can't be community if I'm not integrity." And I think it was just very overwhelming, and I left with my 5 values at the time, and funny enough, the top one at that time was family. And that kind of was, like, parked. I would sometimes say, "Oh, these are my values." I remember writing them down. And then coming to 2025 with you doing our values again, it was just something that switched with me. So much had changed since I originally did my values. I even like COVID happened, the way in which we're working, I became a mum. I lost my mum. So my mum passed away in October and she was my best friend. So I actually felt very lost with who I was. And so doing the values workshop with you, Hannah, and part of my group, I found it so much easier to go through it. And I think because you were giving me the framework of like how to live to it. And something really shifted with can I share the story? Can I share my story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something really shifted for me. So my top value is still family, ironically. So it's still family, and I went through the workshop with you, I think it was the week prior, and then it was just a Thursday, I was heading into the office, I had a 9 a.m. meeting, and I was about to wake up my son, I was really prepared because Thursday is my office day, and I was waking up my son, Flynn, and he was just like, "Nah." He was not having a bar of it. I got the wrong milk, I only have 1 milk. He wasn't happy with the top, he wanted his Toy Story top. He was just losing his mind. And I remember in that moment, I just was like, "Oh, come on, Flynn." Like, in my mind, I was like, "I've gotta get in for a 9 a.m. I'm not gonna be able to get my coffee." And I just in my mind, I was spiraling, and he was just there crying, having a moment. And then everything just stopped. I was like, "My number one value is family." I think I'm not getting emotional here, but, like, I just think that when I paused and I looked at Flynn and I saw he was just upset, and I knew he was absolutely fine, he was fine. I just paused and I was like, "Okay, if I'm gonna be a little bit late, I'm gonna be a little bit late. If this means that I'm not getting my coffee, I'm not getting my coffee. If I'm late for my 9 a.m., my team will understand." And in that moment, my stress just alleviated. I was like, "I'm in this moment. Flynn is my family. He is my top value. Work is still very important to me. I need my work to live by my values of family." And in that moment, everything just shifted. Flynn didn't suddenly just stop crying. I just had to take a moment with him, read a Toy Story book. And look, I didn't have my morning coffee. I don't think I was late for the meeting, but I just showed up and I was really proud of myself. No one would have known it. Flynn wouldn't have known the difference. He ended up at daycare regardless. But it was just something that anchored me to be like, no, remember what's important and you know what your top value is. So yeah, I just feel very proud and how I still live through that now. And even with like how I'm showing up at work, family is my top value. But I'm here working. I'm working for my family. I'm working for to live and breathe in my values. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful I remember that day, and you came to the coaching session, and then you spoke about that, and I think you had the coaching session right before, and you were a few minutes late, and then you were like, "Yeah, I was a few minutes late, and here's why, and this is, after doing the values exercise, I now know what I'm going to spend my time and my energy on and what I'm going to care about." And I think that that is so like, when we start to get into really how we then operationalize these on a day-to-day basis, like, I think it's one thing to define your values, but it's really then another thing to be like, "Okay, well, what are the actions and behaviors that is supporting those values?" So, I'm wondering as well, like, how is defining your values changed your leadership style? Or if you think it has, or even the day-to-day decisions that you make in your career?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely has. Like the decisions I make, of course, like to lead with integrity. I also, one of my values is community as well. And that's me giving to community and being part of a community. And if I think about how I bring this into my work as being a people leader and the people that I work with, the people that I lead, when I'm making decisions, whether it's decisions out of my control as well. So I am a people leader. I work for a very large corporation where decisions are made and people aren't asking Katie Clinch what she thinks, I still have the opportunity to influence my community and live within my values. And again, see my team. I don't like calling colleagues family. It's not that, but see my team as a community and like my people. So when I think about living within my values, I'm thinking about how do I show up? How am I communicating? And also, like, how does it feel within me? And I don't want to get too cheesy. I've often said to you, Hannah, that I don't feel like I'm enlightened. I don't feel like I'm very grounded. But after doing your course, I feel more grounded. I feel more enlightened and more in touch with myself. And I know that living within my values and showing up with them, whether it's making decisions or how I, again, like the actions I'm taking, if I'm saying yes to things, if I'm saying no to things, like, do I actually want to be doing this? So it's really, it's grounded me. It's really given me an anchor of like, not does this make me happy, but is this the life that I want to be living? Are these decisions going in line with what Katie Clinch is about, not just what people want me to be doing?
Yeah, yeah. I remember talking to my sister one time about, like, my goal in life is to be enlightened, and then she thought I was kidding, and then I was on the call with her the other day, and I was, like, talking about enlightenment, and she was like, "Wait, was that not I thought you were joking." I was like, "No, no, no, that's what we're trying to do here." Like, this is what I'm trying to, like, get all these little corporate people enlightened as well. Like, yeah.
Well, look, I'm not going to suddenly become a monk. If you quit your podcast today, quit your coach and become a monk, I'd be like, yes, that feels right. But for me, I do want to just feel more in touch with myself, and I do feel that more enlightenment, and I feel just happier. I just, life is really heavy, and I'm working 5 days a week. I feel very grateful for I work, but I'm working 5 days a week. Life is happening around me. The world can feel heavy, but if I'm in touch with myself and doing this type of work for myself, it's really helped me with where I am today.
Yeah, I led a session for your team, but then we also went through this in the workshop on Cartman's drama
Yeah.
triangle. And for those that either are familiar as well with Fred Kaufman's work, Fred Kaufman is, I don't even know how to describe him, like a corporate guru, but like he's a coach as well. But his work talks about he's done a lot of work with LinkedIn. I believe he's currently at Google. He has his own coaching organization. But with you, I saw really radical changes when we went over the Cartman drama triangle, which kind of has traces of Fred Kaufman's work, but it looks at, okay, are you being a victim, a persecutor, or a rescuer? And then how do we change this into you being the creator or the coach of your own life? So I'm wondering if we could go into that a little bit about almost how I say victim, and I hope people mean, like, the word victim is quite new, like, it's quite nuanced, but I can't necessarily think of a better word for it right now. But how has understanding that framework really changed how you look at work and changed how you look at what's going on around you?
Oh, so much. And I actually will give an example of being a victim. And I agree with the words, like the connotation that comes with it. And I can kind of talk to it. Also, I still have a lot of work to do with the Cartman drama triangle because I am without a doubt a rescuer. I see people, I want to help them. I sometimes lean in too much. I probably should be more of a coach. So I'm not a finished product yet. So I'll kind of give an example of the victim because I'm like, I like being a rescuer. Um when I talk about being a victim, I've been working here for what, 10 years now. I'm very proud of where I work. We move very fast. A lot of things happen. We do a lot. Even I found myself like being in the kitchen. I'm like, great, they've changed the eggs. And for those listening, I'm sorry, I get breakfast for free, and I've become one of those people that will moan about the food. And I think that what I was realizing is, why am I talking like this? Why am I being negative? As in, I find myself getting stuck or moaning about little things, whether it's a project or, like I said, things are moving fast, or just realizing that the world around me is coming at me. And I was like, I'm feeling like this is all at me. And I've been here for so long. And I was causing myself really unnecessary stress. I did not know that until doing the course, where I was like, hold on, nothing is happening to me. I am playing, in this case, the victim of my surroundings or projects coming my way or projects being taken off of me, where I was like, why is this being taken off of me? I was on this. And it just kind of the awareness of this cycle really helped me understand that it is unhealthy of how I was showing up. Whether it be having a little moan over a coffee or even in my brain, like overthinking of like situations that have happened. So I think that what it allowed me to do is kind of realize not that I'm not a victim. I'm not saying, "Oh, poor me, I'm not a victim," but I wasn't in control of my thoughts. I was letting the world around me really take over. And so by going through this workshop with you, and Hannah, you really went deep with our group with this one, because I feel a lot of people were really struggling to identify how to get from one side to the empowerment. It took a lot for me. It took a lot for me to realize that the language of what I'm talking to myself, which is this is happening to me, this is changing, the world is changing around me, it wasn't, or it was, but it's not a bad thing, and I'm in control of what I feel. So I think that even, like, from being, like, becoming a rescuer, being a rescuer, I wanna rescue everyone, even that sense that, actually, I don't need to. I can just take a pause, people are capable, I don't need to always step in. So I just feel that it's given me a lot of awareness, and that awareness, Hannah, was scary because I like a little moan or I like "Oh, this is terrible," or, "Oh," but if I'm not thinking like that, I'm taking away the unnecessary stress from it, and I'm just showing up and I'm like, "It's just work," or "It's just who cares if this project's gone for me," or "Who cares if I get the project," or if the eggs have changed and they're no longer well done.
Yeah, I mean, I really saw you show up for that and get quite honest. You were really honest with yourself around, "Okay, this is actually my behavior here, and
Yes.
it's not serving me or even those around me, and it's probably having a negative impact on me." And I think that some people in the group were going through, quite this is another thing as well, because people come to the group at different stages, and there's also a lot of perspective that you get, and I think as well you got a lot of perspective on what was actually going on and what was not really going on, and how the dramatization of things that weren't really that big and how that was actually contributing stress into your life. And I saw you really start to shift that, where you were like, great, I'm not actually feeding this anymore. I'm going to, you know, direct my attention to something that I actually can impact, not something that I have no say over.
I completely agree. And I found myself in those moments reverting back to little Katie in school, having a little like, oh, this is why me, or like my parents are doing something to me. And then being a part of group, and I'm not here to share anyone else's stories, but the group that I was a part of were just, everyone was so different, different walks of life, different cities, just different everything. And listening to other people's journeys and stories, it's not that I was like, "Oh, they have it worse than me," but I was like, "Katie, just sit down, shut up, like, you're okay." And perspective. I think it just gave me a lot of perspective. It was confronting because it was a reflection of myself, of how I was showing up, and I was like, "I don't want to show up like that. I don't want to be the victim. I don't want to be the person that's always taking everything on or taking the unnecessary stress when no one wants to give me that stress." So yeah, it was hard. I actually found it very confronting. I battled a little bit with it, but it's given me a lot of perspective.
Mm. Well, you mentioned little Katie, and I'd like to go into parts work, because and when I talk about parts work, this is a method called internal family systems therapy, where we look at what are all the different parts of ourselves and how they're showing up in the world. And I really saw you have a breakthrough specifically with, you know, little ghetto. What my favorite part of yours. So I wanted to see if you could give just a background of, how you found working with your parts and how then it's really changed the way that you have showed up. I mean, both at work and at home as well.
Yeah, definitely. Parts work was my favorite part of the course. It's so hard to describe it, of like, I'm talking about a part in myself, but we all have parts in ourselves. But the work that we did in the course to kind of get to that part was just really groundbreaking for me, because I realized that a part that I was hiding for so long, I actually needed. Little Ghetto, this is her debut. So what it was is I realized that, I'm a yes person. I'm a people pleaser. I absolutely am. I find, don't want to generalize people in customer success, that we typically are people pleasers. But we do hire a lot of them. So I typically am like, yes, yes, yes. I'm saying yes to everything. And there's been a part of me that I've hidden or like have just suppressed. And I don't know if like over the years with therapy or well, yeah, therapy. I don't want to be an angry person. Like I've suppressed it. And so when I talk about little ghetto, there's a part of me that takes me back to my 16, 70-year-old self living in Twickenham, with a lot of attitudes, just, having the best life. Like I just see that 16-year-old me, little ghetto, as just someone that is wild, that does exactly what she wants and doesn't care about the people around her's opinions on it. Cares about the people around her. She was still a good person. I still showed up for work. I was, still I was a law-abiding kid, all right? I wasn't that wild. I do have some stories, but that's for another type of podcast. Um, and I think about Little Ghetto of like, she just did what she wanted. And she wasn't scared. She was never scared. She wasn't afraid to share how she felt. She did care about other people's feelings, but she cared about herself, like most importantly. I have suppressed that for so long. And going through the parts work with you, it was something for me that you were like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't wanna be angry." And it's like, "Well, what part of little ghetto here is angry?" She's actually probably angry that she's not coming out because you're suppressing her. It's not that I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna be a 16, 70-year-old self being like, "What are you saying to me?" It's actually saying, like, I wanna speak on behalf of myself and say no to things or ask questions or just be a little bit more direct. And it's so strange that something from my younger self has helped me as a 35-year-old show up better at work. It's not attitude, it's me. It's me. It's me saying what I want to be saying. It's asking questions. It's being in tune with like what I want. And of course, working with incredible colleagues, people, projects, lots of things happening. I have to say yes. I can't be saying no, no to things, but I can be asking questions. I can be, standing up for myself. I can be, talking on behalf of my team and knowing what's right, knowing what's wrong, rather than just saying yes, yes, yes. So little ghetto is, I just see her little face. It's me. But it's just something that really has helped me with a part. And there's a lot of other parts, and I know that you go through this and your work, but knowing what that part was trying to do was trying to protect me. It wasn't angry. It was just trying to protect me from the yes person, the people pleaser that wants to just be saying yes to everyone.
Yeah, and having known you for a really long time, having also worked with you as a CSM and also as in leadership, and I know the reputation that you have, and I felt like as your coach and as your friend, I was like, a lot of people aren't seeing this amazing side. This is my favorite side of you, the side that is a little bit ghetto, like the side that like I have driven with you before as little ghetto comes out in the car. What we went through is like there's this polished kind of really kind, really loving leader that's so well respected in the organization. But then I was like, but you do have a little bit of bite to you and you aren't showing it. And it's like you're trying to wash over that, but that is like part of your essence that is so great about you. And then I really saw that really like help shift your communication as well, not just, also to leadership and not in an aggressive way, but it was like, okay, I'm going to start questioning things and standing up for some things and pushing back to a degree that's appropriate for also my level of leadership. So I
Yeah.
think by understanding those parts of you, I saw you kind of step into more of a leader in a different capacity than you were before.
Definitely, it did, and it allowed me the freedom to just truly be me. I've always prided myself in being an authentic leader. It's really hard when you become a manager. I work with some incredible managers internally, and I've been a people leader for 5.5 years now. And I think about authentic leadership. And I want to say I was never truly there, but being able to get little ghetto out and to be authentically still me, I just feel like, yeah, like, why has this taken me so long? Why has it taken me 5 years? I still want to be nice. I still probably will say yes to a lot of things, but I've still got little ghetto there, like checking me as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's my favorite. Little Ghetto's got a little cheerleader. You've done a lot of work one-on-one. Let's say, like, you've done work with in therapy one-on-one. You've done previous work with coaches. You've obviously had a lot of development poured into you from LinkedIn as the organization. How is group coaching a bit different? Because a lot of people come to me and they're really hesitant about group coaching and they're like, no, I want one on one. I don't really want to do groups. So, what would you say to anyone that's hesitant about doing group coaching versus one on one and the benefits of it?
Oh, I have to check myself when someone asks me because I want to be like, sit down, let me tell you how good group is. But that's probably the overwhelming sense of why they don't want to do group. You're right. I have done coaching. I had a incredible coach early on in my career, probably like 2018, 2019. That was one on one. It's really timely at the time, and I've done a lot of therapy. Um, I think over the last 5 or 6 years, I've lost both my parents. Like navigated a lot of stuff personally as well. And again, it's helped me with who I am today. I think with your coaching, I was always a yes with the group coaching. It was never something for me that I was hesitant about. But I know from speaking to people, they're like, oh, group. The biggest thing for me was the sense of community. I think that what people get the fear of with group coaching is that they're going to be sharing their deepest and darkest secrets right away, and it's going to be so deep, and you're going to get to know everyone on like a level that you're maybe not comfortable with because maybe your best mate doesn't even know it. With your group and how you set it up, as I mentioned before, like we have people in different life stages, countries, roles, values, and I saw so much of myself in them. Going through the homework, that was individual, and then bringing it into the coaching and the theories that you bring into the lesson was so great. It made me reflect on myself, but hearing other people's shares made me feel less alone with how I felt. And it often gave me new perspectives on my own challenges, whether it was grounding me to be like, Katie, you don't have any problems, or growth opportunities. When you did one on one coaching with others, and I was sitting there being an observer of you being a coach, I just was like, wow, I know how to translate this to me. I felt that they felt supported. And even after the share, like just to debrief and in a safe space share back was just something that was like, wow, the fact that I'm going through this with other people that are in different stages but are going through the same course together was just so great. And anyone that's listening can probably tell I'm an extrovert. I love being around people. I love people, but I was in a group with, I'd say, a few introverts, I'm sure they wouldn't mind me saying. And being able to see them and how they're sharing, I know that they felt the same of like not feeling alone because in the past they have felt that. Kind of like it's group therapy. At points it felt like therapy because it was so good. But the power of community and like built in the space that you have created, Hannah, is like nothing that I've experienced in one-on-one. I just took so much more away. I feel like I took more than what I paid for. You know, I feel like I got so much more from it because I feel like everyone else got coached at the same time. It was just so great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is quite a special place. Kind of just wrapping up here. What would you say about, my coaching style? I know that we've had different types of dynamics, but certain people want different styles of coaches. What would you say about the way that I coach?
I do know exactly where to start. I just don't have the time to go through it. As anyone would know, I'm a huge fan of you, Han. I always have been. And I think that how you show up as a coach is how you show up as an individual. So you are an incredible coach. You have such a deep sense of self, which when you bring that into a group setting where it is shared in a group setting, again, you create an environment where people can really drop their barriers and go deep. You're very direct. You're very American. I love Americans. And you are very direct in the sense that if you know someone is still surface level, you will get people to the point of deeper self reflection. And that is in a safe space that I saw someone before really struggling with an exercise and you kept digging, digging, digging. They couldn't get there. So you're like, well, I'm going to come back to this. And you built on homework with them and you worked with them. Like you care for people and you bring these theories in like the internal family systems connect that one, but then you make it your own and you make it to your groups. I feel like I was guided by someone very spiritual, someone very grounded, but also someone, Han, I know you genuinely want people to heal and grow. as you have healed, you've grown and where you are today. So I just feel that you created such a great environment. And again, I could waffle on this for like, not waffle, I could do a whole keynote on this for 15, 20 minutes to an hour. But I just think that you are someone that has done a lot of work themselves and brings those theories back to the group and just is such a beautiful environment.
Well, thank you so much. And Katie, Little Ghetto, all of your parts. I really I appreciate you being here so much with me today. And if you are curious about the group, reach out to Katie. Also, we've got another cohort starting at the end of October. But thank you so much for being here with me today. You are just such a special person in my life. And it's just been an absolute honor to watch you grow and change and to be your coach. So I really
Thank you
appreciate you
so
doing
much,
this.
Hannah. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.